All right, the February 3rd, 2026 Community Redevelopment Agency CRA Board meeting is hereby called to order. Our opening prayer is by Dr. Doug Moore, the Associate Pastor at Emerald Coast Fellowship, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by City Attorney Nevin Zimmerman. Would you please stand?
Would you pray with me, please? Father God, we thank you for these men and women who are here today, who are doing their best to make this a better community to live in. It's already a great community, and we thank you for that, but we thank you for the public servants that give their time and energy, often in a thankless way, to improve Panama City and Bay County in general, God. Pray for each person today. Pray for conversations. We pray for wisdom. We pray that your will be done in all things. And Father, that the decisions today will be unified and that they will be able to be implemented quickly. Again, thank you for their willingness to serve our community and the people that make up Panama City. In your holy and precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Let's face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Ms. Achorn, please call the roll.
Board Member Hughes.
Here.
Board Member Lucas.
Present.
Board Member Street.
Here.
Board Member Granger and Chairman Branch are not here today.
That is correct. So, all right, we do have a quorum with 3 voting members here present. Moving on to item number 4, y'all have the minutes from the December 2nd, 2025 CRA board meeting. Staff would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Ms. Achorn, please call the roll.
Board Member Hughes.
Yes.
Board Member Lucas.
Yes.
Board Member Street.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you. Are there any other additions, deletions, and, are there any additions, deletions, and modifications? I know staff, we would like to recommend that item number 8 be tabled until the March 3rd CRA board meeting regarding the interlocal agreement for paving and resurfacing and also expanding to include St. Andrews. Is there a motion to approve the tabling of that issue till March 3rd?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, please call the roll, Ms. Achorn.
Board Member Hughes.
Yes.
Board Member Lucas.
Yes.
Board Member Street.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you. Are there any other additions, deletions, and modifications, either from the board or from staff? All right, seeing none, moving into item number 6, audience participation. This is open to any issue related to the Panama City CRA's authority, and remarks are limited to 3 minutes. If you'd like to make a comment, please do come to the podium and give your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon. Nancy Hudson, 1701 Mound Avenue.
Hey, Nancy.
I need the CRA board to hear this. Would like for you to please consider asking staff to move forward with the Truesdale building renovation portion of the project to get it going. Within the next 13 months, get it completed, a CO by next March. So I would hope that you all would take that action and instruct staff to move forward. The other stuff can be worked out while this gets moving. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Any other comments for the CRA board?
Good afternoon, Michelle Bryant, 409 East 9th Street. I just had a question regarding line 7. I know last CRA meeting, it was discussions about purchasing this property, and then looking at the notes here for the CRA meeting, it looks like this property was purchased to place the playground for the Henry Davis Park. So with this lot that's being purchased, my question is, what in addition to the playground are you guys looking to do with the property that has been purchased on 1310 Lincoln Avenue? My second is a comment, which is it's going to be a beautiful sight to see the Henry Davis Park completed. Thank you, Michelle Zirkle, on that one. A great accomplishment for that. And then when it comes to the 2026 annual 25, annual report presentation, and in addition to the fiscal year 26 project, there was a conversation about the Spark program that the mayor or chairman had previously brought up. So I wanted to see what is the real end goal of this. I know there are several different requests that have been made to the CRA regarding property, and one of the organizations that I'm a part of, the American Legion, also submitted. What I'm hoping to hear or see is for that Spark program or anyone else, that there's a detailed process, not just a detailed process, but walking through every step, because sometimes when we get started, you get turned the other way from another addition, or you're headed in another direction because of what's requested from another department. So just an outline look when you get a request, kind of like a checklist of what's next, what's the order, and what's the process to prevent delays in completing projects or potential funding. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you. I would say, I just want to speak to the property purchase. So this was to, yes, to basically, the planning department or planning and zoning division initiated this to first off rezone it, and then so that we can bring it in to be part of the larger footprint of the park. But I don't know.
It has an encroachment too.
Yeah, but-
Part of the building is on the property,
Yeah.
and
Part
now
of
it
the
fixes that
restroom.
encroachment because we own it.
But is there any impact on an expanding of the playground like Ms. Bryan is asking?
The playground won't be expanded, but it also goes on what that encroachment would have been. So we had to combine that first.
But it will be the new playground that Kiwanis is doing.
It is,
It'll-
yes.
It'll be the new playground, but also the restroom facility is encroached on this property as well. So we had to rezone it to recreation, and now the CRA is purchasing it from the housing department. Yes.
Yeah. And I believe our plan is at the March 2nd virtual workshop to speak on the
Spark program.
Spark program. So,
We're
yeah.
going to discuss the all unsolicited offers, whether CRA, housing, or city property will be discussed, as well as our master property list of all vacant parcels that we have. So we'll be discussing that and the process that we'll put into place. March 2nd, City Commission virtual.
It's the, City Commission virtual workshop. It's all things, like Ms. Waldron said, it's all things unsolicited proposals. Are there any other public comments for the CRA board? All right, seeing none, audience participation is now closed. Moving into item number 7, which is consideration and approval to transfer the Downtown North CRA funds in the amount of $46,300.36 to the State Housing Initiatives Partnership, or SHIP program, as reimbursement for the acquisition of parcel ID 17494-000-000 located at 1310 Lincoln Avenue in the Downtown North District. Relevant background information is enclosed in your packet, and staff does recommend approval of the transfer of $46,300.36 in the Downtown North CRA funds to SHIP as reimbursement for the acquisition of the parcel at 1310 Lincoln Avenue. This action resolves existing encroachment issues, aligns ownership with recreational use, and supports planned improvements at Henry A. Davis Community Park, consistent with the Downtown North Community Redevelopment Plan. That is the recommendation, board, and staff would recommend a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Are there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll, Ms. H.
Board Member Hughes.
Yes.
Board Member Lucas.
Yes.
Board Member Street.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you. Item number 8 was tabled to our March 3rd CRA board meeting. Moving into item number 9, which is consideration to approve the memorandum of understanding between the CRA, Downtown North, and Millville districts and World Changers Organization for FY 2026. As background information, staff is requesting approval of the FY 2026 MOU service agreement with the World Changers Organization. This marks the 10th year of partnership supporting exterior residential improvements aimed at reducing blight within the Downtown North and the Millville CRA districts. The CRA provides funds for the materials and supplies, while labor is provided at no cost by World Changers volunteers. Increased interest from volunteers has allowed the program to expand this coming year, adding the second work week in March, in addition to the traditional July work week. Pursuant to the proposed agreement, eligible costs are reimbursable in the amount not to exceed $30,000 for the Downtown North District and also $30,000 for the Millville District. CRA staff recommends the CRA board approve the MOU, and staff would entertain a motion to do so.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or questions for staff on this item?
This is an annual thing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, Ms. Sagehorn, please call the roll.
Board Member Hughes.
Yes.
Board Member Lucas.
Yes.
Board Member Street.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you. Item number 10 is discussion, consideration, and approval to execute an MOU between the Panama City Community Redevelopment Agency and the Boys and Girls Club of Bay County for providing youth activities, programming, and transportation services that support and promote economic development in the Millville District of the CRA, allocating the sum of $400,000 payable on a quarterly basis over a term of 2 years, beginning in fiscal year 2026. As background information, on November 13th of 2026, the Boys and Girls Club provided a letter requesting financial assistance so that their organization can continue to provide much-needed youth services, programming, and transportation services to continue to promote workforce stability and economic development in the Millville CRA District, while the organization is finishing construction on a facility in the Millville District from the damage that it sustained from Hurricane Michael. At this time, the Boys and Girls Club is providing services within the district, but at temporary locations. Funding assistance for the services that they offer to the youth and citizens of the Millville District will enable them to complete the construction of their facility and be back online and at normal capacity in the district. Staff recommends that the CRA Board approve the execution of the MOU with the Boys and Girls Club to provide youth services, programming, and transportation services to promote workforce stability and the economic development in the Millville CRA District. This is the recommendation following prior conversations and also through staff discussions. We would entertain a motion to approve.
For discussion purposes, I'll make a motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Board Member Hughes?
Michelle, you recommended that we do this. Why?
It was a request that had come in from the board back when we were discussing the budget for fiscal year '26. And a need had been identified to reestablish that community asset over there in the Millville District to serve the kids in the area.
Okay.
It seemed feasible with the budget that we have for that district. So we moved forward with gathering the information and making sure there was a way that it worked for everybody.
All right. Thank you.
But I do just want to provide level of support and clarification. So this was something that was initiated by the board. And so, staff is following the direction of the board. I know that we've had some one-on-one conversations just kind of raising the question of, what this might mean for other nonprofits in the area and the impact that could have in the future.
So I remember in our CRA's talks, that we were looking at artwork, doing 3rd Street.
As part of the plan.
Right, but this was not.
Yeah, could you refresh our
we-
memories on what we had proposed in Millville as part of the projects for next fiscal year? I
Yeah.
know the streetscapes along 3rd Street was one.
Yeah, the 3rd Street bond project to fix the infrastructure issues and
And do
then
like a
just
streetscape,
resurfacing.
kind
Right.
of.
And street signs and wayfinding signs
Right.
that were unique to the district, kind of like the downtown.
And the
has.
bike village.
And then the bicycle safety village
Right.
as an extension of the Millville Waterfront Park.
Okay.
Yeah. And all of that was supposed to create mobility in the area and connect the waterfront park to Daffin Park by accomplishing all that.
And I think those projects speak to needs, just as this unsolicited proposal speaks to a need that's in the Millville District. I am concerned, however, about the process, not about the need, not about whether we should do this or not. But typically, we've had an unsolicited proposal that then was presented to the public in an RFP or public notice so that others had an opportunity. Approving this as is means that we are approving a precedent of how to fund nonprofits. And I have contended since I was elected that nonprofits serve a role in our community, that businesses, because they are a business, there's an identified need, and we put out an RFP. We put out a public notice. so that everybody, becomes aware how to bid on it or be a part of it. And I think that process has been skipped, and we'd be hard-pressed not to provide this to other nonprofits. And I yield to your expertise as the tenured one on our board, Member Street.
So I do express the same concerns on how, what was unique in this one, and I would have liked it to be worded different, is really the reason why we're entertaining partnering in this way is because they do have a need that goes beyond programming in their facility. And so,
Which is a community-based.
it's a very much, and because in CRAs, we don't incentivize nonprofit buildings, that put us in a spot where we had to kind of be creative with, hey, you can't operate programming and rebuild this facility at the same time. So the only way that we could partner from a CRA perspective, and correct me if I'm wrong in this understanding, was through supporting the actual programming and allowing them to support their rebuild that way, which is opposite of what we would have typically done in a business scenario. And so I do think that for me in this one, as long as we're attaching it to what's in here, which is basically funding assistance for these services they offer to youth and citizens of Millville District will enable them to complete the construction of their facility and be back online at normal capacity in the district. If that is a parameter that I would apply that uniformly to any nonprofit that has a substantial need that is providing a significant impact to children or kids inside of a CRA district. And so that's the only reason why I'm comfortable. If it was just a, hey, we're gonna go support nonprofit programming, I don't think I could support just that. But it's because they've shown the need in a facility base, which is also revitalization, which is also redevelopment, which is why, I've communicated support for this specific one. And
Okay, so I have a question on the way that they've asked. How do you put that out for bid? Because they're asking for us to pay for it, so somebody would pay for it in a bid, right? So that kind of that would be a reason why we're not following the same process, is that correct? Or
I think what they requested assistance on their facility. I
Right.
think that was the actual request.
Right.
And maybe somebody.
And
from
bringing it
board
out of the
can
ground.
Explain exactly what the original requests are and where we are today.
And and real quick, one of the things that I like about this, it was there. It's, the community needs it, and to me, that money is better spent than redoing the road right now. Optically, it looks, it's prettier if you redo the road and come in there, but this, I think, serves more over there.
Well, and I think if they were a for-profit organization and they were a business, we probably wouldn't bat an eye at incentivizing them to rebuild their building.
Right.
And so it is kind of a unique situation.
Yeah, if you just give your name and title for the public.
Sure. My name's Henry Hill. I go by Hank, though. I'm the CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Bay County here in the area. So your question was, what was the original written request?
Yes.
It was for building purposes, basically to get back in our building that's located within the district. The second proposal was for services. We're continuing to serve children in that Millville district. We're at Margaret K. Lewis School, which is just a couple of blocks located from the building that we're going to rebuild.
Did you not have insurance?
Say that again?
Did you not have insurance?
We do, and we still carry insurance on that building that's over there, but it wasn't enough to rebuild the actual site.
Do you guys have a FEMA grant as well associated with your rebuild?
Yes, sir. We did receive some FEMA funds for different kinds of, to help pay for some of the mitigation, to help us rent some of the places that you're talking about, and those kinds of things. We have not finished collecting, hopefully, those FEMA funds. When the time comes, hopefully it will be. We'll get some additional dollars.
And did you guys, I think you guys also received a federal appropriation too.
We do. We have a $1 million grant through federal appropriations that is designated for that site. Once we are able to pull those funds down, that'll also go to the renovation of that property.
Hank, without these funds, how much longer will it take you?
It's hard to tell, to be quite honest with you. It's been an uphill battle with the whole process. And, anything to expedite it, I think the board of directors, we want to be back over there. We want to be in our building to enable us to be able to do what we do better. We're currently serving, like I said, like 89 kids at the Margaret K. Lewis School that's over there. And, we have to tear down every afternoon and get ready to, like, we're opening first thing in the morning. School's closed, but we're open over there, and it makes it a lot more challenging for us.
And not only that, teenagers don't want to come to an elementary school.
And we've seen a drastic drop in teenage participation in our clubs, for sure.
And that's where the programming is definitely needed.
Yes, sir. Yes,
As
ma'am.
I said, the hesitancy, I just want to make sure we cover,
That's a good thought.
Nevin,
Yes.
to make sure that as a part of this MOU, we have the sole source justification and language, which doesn't leave it to assume, but that we are covering this. And then another suggestion would be that we create a policy or rule for when an RFP is required and when it's not. And if we've got those things, then I think it covers this for
So
us.
I think Janice makes a good point. I had not looked at it through that lens. I was looking at it through the original, well, who else has got a damaged facility that operates after-school programming inside of Millville and in the CRA district? And, well, I mean, there's really only one that does that.
Right.
However, we've got CRA in St. Andrews
Yep,
and
it's very true.
downtown north,
Yep.
so.
So that is, so after the RFP changed, is there a need to put a 30-day timeline on it? Or was there not a need to do that?
As far as the change from the RFP, I think that the commission can, or the CRA board can go ahead and take action on it I don't believe it's not legally required to go back out. If that, just because things have changed a little bit from what was actually in the RFP.
Yeah, so I'm suggesting that we put language in this MOU that speaks more
Right.
to why it is justifiable. And also separately create a policy as to when an RFP is necessary and when it isn't. And I think those things make it defensible.
Right.
Time to go to the house.
Like that.
There you go.
Make
Somebody
it
ready.
defensible,
Right.
because
We
it's legally, no, but as
Policy-wise.
sometimes
Well,
it's said the optics are not.
The door's gonna start, they're gonna knock on the door, left and
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
So we can add to this, based upon the discussion today, we can add a paragraph that deals with the sole source justification for why the commission is moving forward today moving forward with this project. Obviously, the CRA staff can give you something to look at in the future as far as a policy that tries to once again make it clear when an RFP process is required and when there could be a situation like this that could
Can you bring all that back to us next month?
Yes.
Okay, then with that, I'd like to table.
Okay, I do have a question. You've got grants and access to federal dollars.
We have a motion to table on the floor. Is there
There's a
second for
motion
that?
and a second already to approve
So
as
we can
presented,
discuss.
so
Right, but if someone makes a motion to table, the table motion would trump the motion that's on the floor. So
Okay.
is there a second to Commissioner Lucas's motion to table?
I would just like to finish our discussion before taking
I'll
action.
hold.
Okay, fine, thank you. Go ahead,
So
Commissioner.
you had mentioned you had access to federal dollars and grants, but you haven't been able to get a hold of them? Is that, this money you were talking about that's in the future, where is it, when can, and what's it used for?
What was the last part of that?
What would it be used for, the money, the $1 million and the
So
grants?
it is.
that Programming?
No, that is not. The request from the CRA is for programming services.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the $1 million request is for the building. It is a federal appropriations, and there's a lot that's involved with that. A lot of hoops that you have to jump through to bring those funds down. And so what is involved with that, or what is the time frame? I mean, we basically have to go through with the budgeting process through, it's actually through the Department of HUD, Housing and Urban Development, and so there's a lot of requirements for that. So I would say the timing of that has been a challenge for us. We're a small organization with small administrative staff, so there's a lot of different things. We've got a consulting firm that's helping us go through some of that so we can pull that funding down. But 100% that funding is used strictly for that building side.
So how likely is it that you'll start construction in the 2 years?
This year, for sure. Oh, within the funding of the CRA, 100%. Yeah, yeah. We're planning on starting construction this year.
Do you have plans already?
We do, yes, sir. I would say it's about 90%. The last time we talked to the architects with a little bit of things to work through with city ordinances and all that, with square footage and those kinds of things, adding to the building. I'm not going to say that. They're there for a reason, for sure. But
Okay.
Hearing no more discussion, then I move to table.
There's a motion to table on the floor. Is there a second?
I mean, I want us to move forward together, so if there's some clarity, I guess, can I say yes, and then I want to discuss?
Yeah, yes,
So,
and I'm gonna discuss.
yes,
That's what I'm
yes, and
trying
I'll
to do,
discuss.
yes. I'll second that so we can discuss the
Motion to table.
motion to
Yeah,
table.
okay,
Yes.
so I just want to make sure, is everybody comfortable? Because they've obviously got a planning process and they've got things that they've got to do. I mean, is it just languaging, or do we have a problem with being able to give $400,000 to the Boys and Girls Club to complete their program?
I don't want to give it and then backtrack and try to explain. I want it to all be one neat process.
So there is consensus that yes, we will support them at 400,000. However, we need further clarity on the documentation and language inside of this specific proposal. Okay, on that note, so hopefully that gives you guys some confidence so you guys continue moving forward.
I would say also we're obviously open to discussion. The CRA folks from the city, when we met to discuss this, were very helpful in helping us craft what we do as Boys and Girls Clubs and put that into what the CRA wants us to do. And it aligns perfectly, I think. So we certainly appreciate your cooperation and support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are voting now on the motion to table this to the March 3rd meeting. Ms. Sagehorn, please call the roll.
Board Member Hughes?
Yes.
Board Member Lucas?
Yes.
Board Member Street?
Yes.
Motion passes to table 3-0.
Thank you. All right, item number 11 is the fiscal year 2025 annual report presentation. I know y'all have all been looking forward to this, so we'll just jump right in. So we're all familiar with the Panama City CRA and the 4 districts that we have, including the expansion that went underway last year for the St. Andrews CRA. We've got just a message from the team and all the work that we did, kind of summarizing through all 4 districts. So you all know the board and the staff. Our financial for the year are provided in here. And of course, if anybody would like to see this in the public, it's available on our website, and CRA staff will certainly be happy to provide it to you. Is it CRA or CRAs at panamacity.gov? CRAs, so CRAS, if you'd like to email CRAS@panamacity.gov, we'll be happy to share this information with you.
It is all posted on our CRA webpage as well.
So, some of the big projects that we did in fiscal year 2025, the McKenzie Park restrooms, the Harrison Avenue Breezeway, the downtown wayfinding signs, the Millville Waterfront Park, which is super exciting, and the bathrooms are underway there. And do we have a timeline, Ms. Zirkle, on the amphitheater being complete?
The amphitheater is complete with the exception of some lighting being installed, and that they just got that up today, and we're going to inspect that.
Let me clarify. I knew the lighting was still an issue, but that was done today. That's great.
Yes.
What about on some sort of wall or bushes, something, a buffer against the sewer treatment plant?
so you can't see it from the park.
Yeah.
Michelle, will the landscape plan address some of that or not?
So it
It
did
just needs to be
not,
really tall.
yeah, that was actually part
And
of
smell
the
good.
bicycle safety village plan that we didn't end up moving forward with, but I could look into adding something over there.
Yeah.
Because we
I mean,
do.
it's
we-
great down
It's
there.
not exciting.
We do have a landscape plan being complete for this park, but
Right.
we can maybe see about adding that piece.
Okay.
All right, we did the Daffin Park renovation. We did the renovation and expansion at Henry A. Davis. We did a lot of beautification projects with Millville US 98 beautification, Beck Avenue and 98. These are ongoing. MLK Boulevard, State Road 77, and then maintenance MOU between our CRE team and the Parks, Culture, and Recreation Department. Also did one with the Historic St. Andrews Waterfront Partnership, and also with World Changers. We also had a number of TIF rebates, and you can kind of see the different ones, a lot of them in the downtown area, and want to continue to encourage folks to use that as a development tool and incentive. So that is it. All right, and then next we will move into, unless there's any questions about the 2025 annual report presentation to the board, we will move into item number 12, which is the FY26 project updates, and those are things that are just underway inside our CRA district. So start with the downtown. Obviously, the downtown district, we wrapped up the street and wayfinding signage. Downtown public art, it's still in the coordination phase. Marina Uplands, we're ongoing active planning and public engagement. As you all know, third week of January, we have the charrettes and stakeholder meetings, and then one-on-one meetings with both staff and the elected officials with Dover Coal. And our goal is to have them come back either the end of March or the early part of April to present their findings from the community. But we had well over 200 people that participated over those 2.5 days, so we're very excited about that. Ongoing district improvements in the downtown CRA, the Oak and Harrison four-way stop, numerous dumpster enclosures, and then some downtown parking lot improvements. The downtown North District, the A.D. Harris facility, we had both an MOU and some maintenance. We have our 15th Street and MLK Boulevard redevelopment project, still working through that due diligence period with the Sankofa Group and their efforts, and in fact, we hope to have a check-in with them sometime next week. The Henry Davis Park renovations, about 90% complete. One of the property transactions from earlier this meeting is one of the final steps in that. The Incremental Development Alliance, IncDev, additional programming is pending. The virtual boot camps and monthly meetups were approved. And so looking the end of February through March for all of those activities happening on those Thursdays. The SPARK program and land assemblage, active acquisition and planning. We've got city and CRA owned parcels along the MLK Boulevard. We've got an appraisal of property at 1342 MLK Boulevard, pending purchase of 704 East 15th. That's, as a reminder, that's kind of that north corner, top left corner of the intersection there at the MLK Rec Center. Pending purchase of 1310 Lincoln Avenue, that's for the Henry Davis Park. That's again what y'all approved earlier this meeting. And then also working on the Watson Bayou dredging study. That's in the data gathering and coordination phase. And we're seeking city staff assistance, specifically the engineering division on our public works team, on obtaining an environmental feasibility study.
Where's that dredging happening?
When?
What's by where?
It's the very north part.
Look up by 6th Street?
I think you
North.
north of
North
that.
of 6th Street.
Yeah, north of 6th Street.
The other side. So you've got the Cove side,
Mhm.
the 6th Street, and then north.
I think it's really shallow at
Very
the very
shallow, the very
front to
north
the
tip of
west
it.
and to the
Yeah.
north. There's a bunch of stormwater
So
out
go
there.
Back
that
toward
have-
11th Street. Yeah.
North
On
of
the,
the 4th
okay,
Street.
okay, yeah.
Yes, sir. All right, and then the Glenwood Community Center updates. We've completed all the improvements, including interior paint, exterior pressure washing, and refinished floors. And new tables are going to be ordered this month. We've spent about $14,000 of the $20,000 budgeted. Millville District, the Millville Waterfront Park, construction and implementation. Amphitheater lighting is currently being installed and was done today as per the earlier update. Parking lot striping improvements queued up with the streets Division to do upon their availability. Restroom construction has begun, and we anticipate that being complete by April of 2026. That's being done by our facility maintenance team inside logistics. And then landscaping and solar lighting to be installed by April of this year. Budget's $1.5 million, and we spent about $1.12. The historic Millville Cemetery rehabilitation, phase 1 is complete, phase 2 is planned. Fitz painting completed, phase 2 volunteer coordination effort for beautification of grounds, headstones, planning for this coming up spring 2026. Millville beautification and repairs, ongoing, Whittington Park, stormwater improvements, pergola swing, pressure washing projects, working closely with PCR. Daffin Park renovations, construction and implementation is the current status, pending confirmation of scope of work for 2026. Interlocal agreement scheduled for one of the upcoming board agendas. I don't know if we're looking at March or April for that. Do we know yet, Ms. Circle?
We're still discussing the scope,
So
possibly April.
Yeah, probably more like April. So, all right, and then Boys and Girls Club grant, we discussed that earlier in this meeting, and we'll come back at the March 3rd CRA board meeting. Millville Gateway FDOT beautification, construction is completed, active contracted with maintenance phase, pressure washing of the fountain, vendor maintenance ongoing until the summer. Commercial property improvements grant program applications are currently open. The program was launched in December with program information applications distributed to business owners along US 98. No applications have been submitted as of the preparation of this agenda. The St. Andrews District, Beck Avenue FDOT beautification, construction is nearing completion. Streetscape and landscape improvements are underway with installation of the remaining turf anticipated later this month. Vendor will provide maintenance for another year until February of 2027. We did get some additional money to shift from the pine straw and mulch over to the shells. Bay Avenue Boardwalk, it's an active capital project. We're awaiting the boardwalk design and proposal from Gorman Marine Company. Budget is $1.3 million.
Do we have any update on that project?
Sure. Ms. Zergo, please provide an update on the Bay Avenue Boardwalk.
I don't have an update. We
Okay.
haven't received anything. We haven't received anything from Gorman yet. We're still waiting.
Can we either send out a notice to them to provide numbers by a certain date or something so that, because part of the challenge that we're having inside the St. Andrews one is we've got these unknown numbers
Some big projects.
that are kind of leaving us in limbo. Can we provide, or otherwise we're gonna have to go get a number from somebody
I
else.
understood.
Didn't tell me
Mr.
like
DeVito, do you have any
2 or 3 years
information on
ago
that
we had $1
project?
billion for this thing or something
The
like that?
boardwalk?
Baby
Gorman? No,
boardwalk.
I know, you do? No, okay. Okay. We'll provide.
Anybody in here have a
No,
number?
no. We'll provide a detailed update
Okay,
next
thank
meeting,
you,
Commissioner.
thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, Oaks by the Bay Park lighting, planning and procurement phase. We received 2 or 3 quotes and designs. We'll conduct review with the Historic St. Andrews Waterfront Partnership. Once all the
Can we
quotes and
do the
designs
same
are
thing with
received.
that one? Can we put that one on a timeline? Some of these have been outstanding for 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
And so,
So is that out for an RFP now?
it's
Well,
out
it
for a
seemed like
quoting
we're trying to
process.
we're trying to get 3 quotes,
Yep.
so we've received 2 of them.
Yep.
Just as a reminder, per our purchasing policy, we have to have 3 comparative quotes for anything from $3,500 to $100,000.
So what happens if you can't get 3 quotes?
I mean, if you've given a good faith effort and you've shown that you've reached out to 3 or more candidates, you can't, and if you've given them, I would say, at least 2 weeks to respond and they still haven't, then you can include your email to them, and that would go through the purchasing department. They say, I've done that multiple times.
What's good faith effort? Is that by a certain amount of time, or is that based on how many emails you send?
I would say 1 email and 1 phone call to request a quote is a good faith effort, and giving them 2 weeks to respond.
Michelle has.
So I've actually gathered all of the quotes. I had those, but then I was directed to review it with the Waterfront Partnership first. So when that request came through, I had to wait a month. Once we have that meeting, which their board meeting is next week, the decision will be made and we'll be able to act immediately.
Okay, so there's more than 2 quotes now. We have numbers.
Yeah, well, one was non-responsive, partially responsive, but that counts as our purchasing policy. And then I did receive 2 good ones. And I was ready to act, but then we're just consulting with Waterfront Partnership first.
Okay, so by next week, we should have a decision, move forward.
Absolutely.
Thank you. The same questions exist on these next 2 ones.
Okay.
Playground and then Truesdale Clubhouse, obviously, we're gonna move with that. I know we did a survey on Truesdale.
We did.
Parking lot. If you
We
wanna speak to that, some
reviewed
additional-
today, so the consensus was for a much smaller parking area. So that we've discussed, and what I've asked Jonathan to do after our review is to have the exterior and the parking lot change on the earliest agenda that we can from this point, because I think we've got enough information. I did want to ask a question. We cannot, my understanding of HRP is we cannot be working, we can't have two contractors on site at the same time. So we can't do the exterior and the interior at the same time. Am I correct in my understanding?
I've not heard that. Have you,
makes
Ms.
sense.
Waldron?
The interior is going to be funded with CRA, so you're
So
talking.
the only reason why I say that is if I recall, and granted in that policy piece, is you cannot have two contractors on at the same time. You have to have one piece of the work executed before you can start the other one. So time is of the essence to get the exterior and the grant executed ASAP, if that is a guideline. Jennifer can provide clarity.
That came up on another HRP project.
Yeah. So I don't think you can do them simultaneously with that specific grant funding.
Well, I think you would agree the parking lot is likely closer to being ready than the exterior of the building.
Yeah, but you guys sent plans that had the exterior, so were those ready?
Well, they're I don't know that I don't know how detailed they are.
How, for Truesdale, the exterior of
The
Truesdale,
clubhouse?
how close are we on those plans being completed on the exterior?
Who's drawing them?
Do you know?
I actually
Well,
think
they're-
that question's better suited
Yeah,
to Matt in the audience.
Yeah, go ahead and come up, please, sir.
Do I need to give my name?
Just name and title, yes?
Matt DeVito, Deputy City Engineer.
Can you just speak about the exterior plans for Truesdale Clubhouse and where it is and how close we could go to bid on something like that?
Yeah, I would say we're probably at a 90% set of plans. I can't speak to, it's Florida Architects that prepared them, so I can't speak to their schedule, but we can start those conversations with them in earnest if we want to button that up and get a bid set.
I mean, I thought they looked beautiful the way that they were. So, and I've already circulated those. I've not gotten any, no one has said anything negative, other than there were some questions about the brick from one specific person, but that was it. So,
Yeah.
and the brick is not real brick, it's just faux brick, just so that we're clear. It's over block, so.
Yeah, it's like stucco that's
Yeah,
been cut
so,
into blocks.
But yeah, I would love to see, if you can get those both to us, because I know we made a commitment to come back to the commission on the one item. Like, is there a way that we can execute, get out to bid on both of these, like,
Well,
within
the
the
parking
next 30
lots,
days?
we already got a bid on the parking
Yeah.
lot, so we plan to work with the contractor over the next week to 10 days to modify that, working with both Public Works and Mr. Zimmerman and his team. In regards to the exterior, the clubhouse, we'll have to prepare bid docs, and from what I'm hearing, I think we can get those out in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay,
All right?
that was it.
Yes, sir.
And then we should, by that point in time, I'm assuming, have the playground and everything squared away so that we can have a good budget number for the interior, after these are done.
Just
Is
to
that
be clear,
correct?
a playground at Truesdale, you're not talking about the playground at Oaks by the Bay?
I'm talking about the playground. What this says is Truesdale Clubhouse and Playground. Isn't that talking about the
I
Oaks
think
by the
we're
Bay?
talking about doing a playground at both Oaks by the Bay and at Truesdale.
There's $500,000, so whether we spend, however we spend it between the Oaks by the Bay playground and Truesdale, it's,
We have spots
Okay,
identified at
that's what we
both, which would, I guess the question would be for you as the representative of that district, which playground would we want to come first and focus on?
Well, we don't even have another playground for the other one. So the ones that we've already communicated, that have already been circulated, just the plans that we've already done. I've seen the drawings from the Oaks by the Bay playground. That is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm not talking about folding in anything new. I'm just trying to get us narrowed down so we can get these budget numbers to the point that we know what we're working with. So,
Got it.
does that make sense what I'm saying?
Go ahead. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So I've been actively working on designs and obtaining quotes for the Oaks by the Bay playground. However, I haven't been directed which is a priority yet. And when it's interior of Truesdale or the Oaks by the Bay playground, we have to know which one's going to be a priority, and then the other is the budget is going to be based on what's left after that priority. So I don't quite know what I'm working with budgetary-wise for Oaks by the Bay playground. I've started them all off approximately 100,000. Don't include the surface, you know, in case we decided we want turf instead of mulch. So kind of around $100,000 figure. As of right now, I don't know, I mean, we're also waiting on the state to give us approval. They still have not given that to us. We're about in month 3 waiting for that approval to put the playground in a passive park. I do anticipate we'll get that approval. But that being said, once I get all of the quotes and designs and everything together, the intent was to have a public meeting, but I need to know realistically what the budget is by then. And that's all contingent on, is Truesdale Interior going to be a priority over that playground or not? Which one should I move on first?
Well, right now, we can't even get to Truesdale Interior until we've actually got the things we've already got budgeted executed. So what I would say is playground at Oaks by the Bay needs to be amazing playground. And we have already some partners that are ready to partner with us on electrical and things like that on the interior. I'm not concerned from the standpoint of, hey, I think we just need, what I'm trying to push to is we've got a lot of projects that are laid out, and we're kind of in a holding pattern on all of them, if that makes sense. I'm trying to bust through the holding pattern and actually start getting progress with it. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah. From my perspective.
This is the same update I had 4 months ago.
Yeah,
So
but-
that's why I'm
Well,
saying.
but the P3 that surfaced at Truesdale paused us.
Yes, it did.
So it did.
It
So,
did, with the
I mean,
public
we were ready-
feedback.
We were ready to rock.
So-
I mean, we would probably already have the parking lot just about done. And then we would be beginning right now to shift into the
That is
exterior of
true.
the building, so.
That's true, and that
So
is very
we
fair.
we are, per our conversation today, we're ready to hit the gas again on all this,
Okay,
sir.
great.
So, all right.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, and then, let's see here, so the Publishing Museum, MOU and maintenance, partnership and maintenance phase, minor repairs ongoing, farmer's market grant matching funds provided, about $9,100 for FY '26. St. Andrews Public Art and Beautification, active hopscotch installations complete, new century tree planting completed, new rope purchase for Oaks by the Bay Park Christmas lights display, new rope installed on wood pilings down Beck Avenue, and then pressure washing of Beck Avenue in Bayview is planned for later this month. St. Andrews miscellaneous improvements, ongoing and evolving, anticipated funding of reskinning the storage shed at the Chestnut parking lot, amount to be determined. We've got the neighborhood evolution study, and I believe we meet with them tomorrow to move forward on that property at 13th and Beck. And then the funding of the new park sign for Hintz Park, that's been ordered. Do we have an update on the delivery of that yet?
As well as the swings and the furniture. Okay.
Okay, so we're hoping to see the sign around February 20th. I know there were a few more pergolas that were missing swings. Those have been ordered, and I think we also expect to get those by the end of February. If we can get them by the end of this week or early next week, we talked about maybe doing some type of ribbon cutting around Valentine's Day. So, but hopefully maybe at least by the end of February.
Yeah.
Evolution study. I thought they were coming to meet with all of us publicly.
We're having a preliminary meeting with them online tomorrow to kind of explain kind of what we're looking at. I don't have a recollection that they're coming to do some big formal presentation just yet. Please correct me.
I didn't ask about a formal, I just,
No, it was specific for the parcels at 13th and
oh
Beck.
yeah, right. I just want to ask them, can they teach us how to do a P3?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, that's our problem. It's not what needs to go there, it's how to do it.
Yeah.
Who
I'd
was
like-
the,
Some company, we're paying $19,000 to.
Yeah, that was something that was driven by the board.
Oh, yeah.
no, but who's the company?
The Neighborhood
Neighborhood
Evolution.
Evolution.
Neighborhood evolution.
Yeah,
Okay,
they're
thank
called NEVO, Neighborhood Evolution for short.
Okay.
So,
And their purpose is to tell us what's best to go on that site?
They're
that-
supposed to be helping us craft the RFP to solicit for proposals for P3.
Okay. Okay.
all right. And then moving into CRA-wide initiatives and programs, we're now entering the 10th year for the World Changers residential grants. We've got big projects planned this spring and summer in both downtown North and Millville. Applications for the summer projects will open in March of this year. Brownfields grants, still planning multiple Phase 2 studies are underway. The grant is about $486, and we've spent about $269 of that so far. CRA Social, the annual CRA Social is scheduled for February 19th at the City Hall Rotunda. We encourage everyone to be there, certainly from the public as well. And then Public Works resurfacing and paving interlocal agreement. This has been approved by the commission and was approved prior in November by the CRA board as well. And so we tabled that earlier. It will be on the March 3rd CRA board agenda. Again, just formally approving the interlocal or the MOU, and then adding St. Andrews into that plan. Annual reporting and compliance, ongoing. The annual work plan and budget was approved in October of last year. Interim annual report finalized and posted in December of last year. And the annual report finalized and scheduled for February board presentation, which was made earlier in this meeting. And then the CPTED, the assessment and plan, which is crime prevention through environmental design, in the planning and procurement phase. Presentate and proposed plan for the February 18th, 2026 CRA virtual meeting. So that concludes our project updates thus far, and staff would entertain any questions that the board may have in regards to these projects.
Brownfield grants.
Brownfields, that is to look at, kind of do like an environmental site assessment, an ESA phase 1 and or phase 2 on a potential site that we might purchase or
Where? Are we doing it now? Or
You want to give a quick
picking
recap?
sites? Or we, I mean,
We've got about 10 or
we're just
12 of
running
them going around.
What are we doing?
We're currently on task order number 25. We've had
A dozen or so.
dozens done on.
How are they identified?
Through knowledgeable city staff mostly, who say this is an area where we know that it's of concern. Or one example will be the parcel that we want to purchase at 704 East 15th. It's recommended to get that done before the city purchases a parcel. So it varies, but
You talking
anytime
about the
we're-
corner of MLK?
Yes, yes, correct.
So we're gonna do a phase 1?
We did.
That was
Okay.
done, yes.
So are all these parcels, do we own, or are we doing on private property?
We don't usually do private property. We have tried to do that before. It is allowed with the grant, but most property owners do not want an environmental assessment done on their property.
I wouldn't either.
And we
Yeah,
have to
so
get
we
their
pretty much stick to
permission.
city-owned parcels.
Or that we're under contract with that contractually makes us do that?
Correct.
Yes.
So are we under contract, MLK and 15th yet?
Are we under contract on that site?
We're under contract
Well,
right
we are
now.
under
We're in the due
contract.
diligence period.
The contract will be signed. The seller has approved it and sent it here, and,
It's not a toxic waste dump, like.
oh, no,
was a gas station.
there is
It
contamination.
was a gas station.
There's no doubt. There's a long due diligence period. The city commission will have an opportunity to decide whether to go forward. We believe there'll be a phase 2. There'll be, containment methodologies discussed. As long as it's parking, it shouldn't be an issue. May not be an issue otherwise either. But yes, we do know there's contamination, and this grant we're very fortunate to have because it's funding a lot of the assessments and potential.
Guess that precludes putting a swimming pool there.
Swimming pool may not be a good idea.
There's
right
actually
there.
monitoring wells on the property
Will
to,
you share the report with us that you guys have gotten back? when
For
you
that
guys are
specific
completed? Yeah,
property?
For that,
Yes.
just so that we have.
Or for all the properties? So,
you would like a report?
well, maybe not all of them.
All of them?
Okay, I'm concerned here, okay. The staff is picking something to go do an assessment on. We say we're gonna be under contract, but we're not, so we've already done a phase 1. Why are we picking stuff to buy when we have all this land we're trying to get rid of?
A lot of the parcels we have done are our parcels, our vacant
Okay.
parcels.
Okay.
The ones that we did, that I'm aware of, that we were looking to purchase was 704 East 15th Street. We also did the Chestnut Diesel property
Okay.
prior to purchasing those. But are there any others? Because we would have to get the property owner's permission that we know of that are not our parcels.
No, all the
Commissioner
others
Hughes,
belong
just
to
to
us.
follow up real quick. The commission did approve purchasing this parcel and approve the contract. So it's just been slow getting it actually executed.
Is there a significant amount of resources left in this EPA grant? If we want to open it up to other private parcels that may want to get a phase one and phase two?
Is
I
there
think we had
like
about 200,000 left, sir.
200,000 left?
I think there would be
Yeah.
a great grant program inside the CRA to open this up to private property owners that want to go through. I mean, the reality is to get a bank loan on anything, you have to have a phase one.
Oh, yeah.
And if you've had some kind of thing, laundromat or a gas
Railroad
station or
station.
anything, you typically will have to do a phase two. So if there are property owners that want to voluntarily participate, I think that would be a good incentive because those can cost between $15,000 and $20,000 to complete if you go through all the way through.
We got
the
about
process.
215K left we can spend.
Okay.
And when does the grant end?
September 26.
Yeah.
Oh, so we need to do it now.
So we'd have to do it now.
And that would be
Okay.
great if some private property owners would want to
All
get
right,
it done.
if it's okay and it's okay with the board, I'll go ask in some of these areas
I'll go
that
ask.
have vacant.
I'll definitely go out.
Yeah.
I think it'd
Yeah.
be good at this point
Otherwise, I'll all
to,
be in St. Andrews.
to have a motion.
Yeah,
Hill, too.
I'm trying to see who can sell the most, who can get the most at a time.
Tell Janice you're not going to talk to anybody.
That's right.
So staff will also be happy to help. I think it'd be appropriate to have a motion to kind of direct staff to go to private property owners and offer.
I'll
this.
motion to open this up to private property owners.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any
For
discussion?
discussion,
Yes,
yes.
ma'am.
I think we ought to put some sort of connection to economic development.
Right.
Or.
Yeah.
CRA area.
Criteria
How
in the
about that?
CR, yes, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you.
Well, it would
And-
have to be in
and-
this, it would have to be in the CRA district anyway.
Right, but the return on the investment. I mean,
The
You
Brownfield
need to be
grant
ready
was
to do
actually a
something. Right.
city
What you're saying.
grant.
Oh, was it?
The
Okay.
Brownfield
Yeah.
grant was actually a city economic development grant, so technically it does not have to be in a CRA district. So it could be anywhere in your
Yeah, but
wards.
let's make it be that.
But
I
it
mean,
could be
we're
for
trying to do
economic
it CRA.
development
So
purposes.
that it doesn't seem willy-nilly or Wild West, let's have some return on the investment to the city.
Yeah, you need to be able, doing something. Like, and I'll give you the one that I was thinking of. Behind Grocery Outlet, there's the old Texaco gas station that was there. I don't know that they've gone through a phase one or phase two, but they've been on the market for a really long period of time.
could maybe
So if
help
there
with that.
was, yeah, exactly.
Did we
So
already
that's
do
why
that
I
one?
was
We
thinking
already
that.
We
did
tried to
that
reach
one.
out to them and never got responses.
They didn't wanna do it?
Legal department tried to contact them too, we never got
I'll-
responses.
That's now Donna Bubba have?
No, I'm not-
But I think to your point, that's where if someone would buy that and develop it, that would be great
Yeah,
for St. Andrews.
you're gonna
and our
need
city.
that documentation regardless. So.
But phase ones are only good for a limited amount of time.
6 months.
6 months. So they have to,
Have to be ready to go. Yeah. All right, is there any further discussion on the motion on the table?
Call the question.
All right, call the roll, please, Ms. Sagehorn.
Board Member Hughes?
Yes.
Board Member Lucas?
Yes.
Board Member Street?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
If there's nothing else for the good of the order, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion from
Second.
Board Member Lucas and then a second from Mr. Hughes.
I was
Ms.
afraid
Sagehorn,
you
please call the
wouldn't be
roll.
able to adjourn without Brian.
Board Member Hughes?
Yes, I wasn't gonna play in that game.
Board Member Lucas?
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Board Member Street?
Yes.
Motion passes to adjourn at 3-0.
Motion, meeting is adjourned.